And when they went home, when they came back to the workplace, there was no guarantee that they would get either the job back, or even if they got the job back, would be entitled to the kind of promotion that they would have been entitled to had they not gone on maternity leave. The Democratic Labour Party passed the Employment of Women Maternity Leave Repair Act to put an end to that. And when you go on maternity leave now, understand you are able to do that, you get paid because of the Democratic Labour Party. When we came to office, don't mind the talk. Don't mind the talk. When we came to office, for the first time, men and women going to work the same place and doing the same work used to get paid at different levels. Women got paid less than men, although they were doing the same work. The Democratic Labour Party put an end to that as well. You belong to a party of which you can feel proud.
Very proud.
Look, very recently, I know Earl Barrow once said that from amongst the ranks of the subject people, you can always find the greatest defenders of the system. That from 1971, consistently, insistently, and persistently, political parties were promising to introduce legislation to protect the workers of Barbados. Check all the manifestos from 1971, you'll see it, in some form or another. This government decided that debate had lasted long enough, the consultation had gone on long enough, we were not taking away anything from the employers, but we were going to make sure that the relationship between employer and employee was put on a sound legal footing. The legislation doesn't take away anything from employers, but the relationship is no more clearly defined. Workers must now know who their employers are. They must now know whether they are in contracts of service, where the employer has to be responsible for the payment of their national insurance and that kind of thing, and where the employer can regulate their working hours and so on. Or whether they are in contracts for services, in which case they have to look after those things themselves. Would you believe that in the year 2012, an opposition party would oppose that? This is a party that calls itself the Barbados Labour Party. This is a party that has a long historic relationship with the Barbados Workers Union. Now, the Barbados Workers Union supports wholeheartedly the Employment Rights Bill, and its parent repudiates the bill. I have never seen so much obstruction in the House of Assembly to get a bill to protect the rights of workers passed. This thing may be unconstitutional and all sorts of fancy talk in the House of Assembly. And when the matter comes in the Senate, the Labour Party spokesman there, Kerry Simmons, said, you know what you talk about, what all the long talk was about. There's nothing wrong with the bill. But we had to fight downstairs in the House of Assembly to get a bill to protect the rights of workers passed. But that shows you where their consciences are. But we don't apologize for that. That we don't have to put a promise to pass employment rights legislation in manifesto anymore. It is now the law of Barbados, and workers are better protected with that law in place than at any other time in this country. So ladies and gentlemen, as I said, the battle is on for the mighty. But unless you are well informed, unless you know what arguments to put when you come under attack by these Lucifers now roaming the earth, you may sometimes temporarily get destabilized. The purpose of a meeting like this is to arm you with the requisite information to answer the critics of the government. And I therefore spent time on our economic response to the crisis. And let me tell you this. For them, economics is about arithmetic. It's about figures. For me, it is about human satisfaction and quality of life. And I know that if what they were trying to purvey out there was true, the level of human satisfaction that I am seeing in Barbados, I do not see it. The people of Barbados understand. They don't have to depend on Freundel Stuart to tell them what's going on in the world. They don't have to depend on ONL to tell them what's going on in the world. There is not a person in this room sitting here this evening. There is not a person outside this room standing or sitting this evening who does not have either a friend or a relative living in the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, or some part of the Caribbean. So you don't have to depend on me.
No, we got
you get the information independently of politicians. There was a time in this country's history when we had to wait on politicians to come and give us information about what is going on in the world. There was a time in St. Andrew when you had to wait till Joy Edwards come down to tell you what was happening. Those days are over. And you can now access information on what is going on in the world independently of your politicians. I remember growing up in Mark Street, St. Philip, people trekking to 6 roads because Winter Prophet was going to speak. And when he started to talk about Brazil and these other places, you thought he was talking about some place beyond the skies. Because the world seemed a very big place then. But technology and human migration have combined to make the world a very small place. So we are all in possession of the same information. When people get shot down in Syria, you in this room here, sometimes before the foreign minister of Barbados, you hear before the people at the university, sometimes you hear before the prime minister. When there's a downgrade of a country by one of the rating agencies, most of you in here either at the same time or before or just after the Minister of Finance hears it. That's the world we live in now. So you don't have to depend on me. You don't have to depend on any cabinet minister. You don't have to depend on any opposition politician to tell you what is going on in the world. You know what is going on in the world. And it is because you know what is going on in the world that you are in a position to evaluate the performance of this government. And I'm sure that on the basis of any objective evaluation, you can only come to the conclusion that the government of the Democratic Labour Party between 2008 and the present deserves a passing rate.
And another 10 years more.
So all of the people who are out there navel gazing and telling themselves that they don't have too long to wait. They may not have too long to wait for an election, but they have long enough to wait before they get back in the government. for the very warm reception to which you thought me entitled when I got here this evening. I want to assure you that the members of the cabinet and myself continue to be committed to your cause. I will carry the message back to the Ministry of Public Works that Coggins Hill in St. Andrew is in desperate need of rehabilitation, and that it is in the state that it is in because of the criminal dereliction of that political ornament called George Payne. We are going to make sure we get around the Coggins Hill, one of the main arteries in the parish of St. Andrew. But after being in a government between 1994 and 2008 that had more money at its disposal than any government in the entire history of Barbados, dating back to 1627, Coggins Hill is still in the state that it is. And George Payne is telling me foolishness about how deep his pocket is. I came, I saw, I will conquer. And we, as the family of the Democratic Party, will meet and celebrate at the rendezvous of victory. Thank you very much.